All right, we're going to talk about how you can get a lead from GoHighLevel into a Pitchit workflow campaign. And the first thing you have to do is create a new Zap and make the trigger lead connector. Now this is a little tricky because they've white labeled the name. It doesn't say GoHighLevel, so you can't find it by typing in high level. You can't find it by saying GoHighLevel. There's some things that look like high level like HL Pro Tools. Um, but the actual name of it is lead connector. And so it took me a little bit of time to find it, but eventually that's where I did find it. It's white labeled. Now, the second part is we need to choose the trigger event. And the only trigger that they actually make available in lead connector is pipeline stage changed. And so there, you need to be a little creative on how you get a pipeline stage to change when you want to add someone to Pitchit. I'm going to run through a really common use case, which is you have a brand new lead that's been added, and there's, let's say, an automation that automatically creates a new pipeline deal for every new contact added into your system. That's essentially what you're going to want to do. And that way you can actually take advantage of this trigger event that they support. The next part is also kind of tricky because when you connect a new account to Lead Connector, it asks for an API key, and then it takes you to this link, and that link kind of, at least for me, it broke. It didn't work at getting me to a place where I could actually find an API key. And so what I realized is there's two places for API keys. There's one if you're like on a pro account and you want like an agency-wide API key. So get to your agency account, click settings, and then go to API keys, and it's right here. And that kept not working for me in Zapier, and I was getting a little frustrated. But then I realized that in the sub accounts, there's a separate API key for each sub account. And that's the only one that I could find that actually works with Zapier. And it's not in the same location. So there is no, if you click settings, there is no API key button, which I thought was a little surprising and a little confusing. But when you go down the profile, you can see it here at the profile settings. So copy, paste that in, and then it will sync your account. Very easy to get tripped up at this very first stage here. After this, it gets a lot easier though. So under configure, what we're going to do is we're going to choose the pipeline name that you want to sync with Pitchit. I just created a test pipeline. Now inside of your account pipeline, you can create pipelines if you want by going to opportunities and then pipelines. So you could create a pipeline and just call it the Pitchit pipeline if you want, or you could just integrate us with an existing pipeline. I have a test pipeline here with all of our opportunities. And so that's the one we're going to do is test pipeline. And then anytime someone hits the stage 1, which I just named arbitrarily, basically it's just the very first step that a user could be. Let's say this is like form filled out, but no one's contacted them. There's been no meetings. We haven't discussed anything with them, right? That'd be the equivalent of like a stage 1. So like a brand new lead. Let's call it like starting hot, but not qualified in any way. So let's just call this like an MQL, marketing qualified lead, right? That's the first stage. And I'm just going to do a little test. So I'm going to create a new opportunity right now. And we're going to call it, I'm going to create a new opportunity and I'm going to add a contact. Let's add a pre-existing contact. All right. And then let's just publish it and see if it lets us do it. I'm going to call the opportunity Pitchit test. Okay. Deal. Done. This contact's already attached to an opportunity. So let's change this one. Let's just call it Mike. Create. All right. Now the deal has been created. If I refresh in GoHighLevel, it should show at that step. And once I can confirm that it is definitely there, which it is right here, I'm now going to go back to Zapier and I'm going to test the trigger. And it should show it right here. There it is. And if we want to find new records and we don't like that test, you could always click Find New Records. But we do have some showing up here in the test. And I think this is the one. Yeah, Mike, stage 1, Pitchit test deal. So we're going to continue with this record. Now, the second thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add it to Pitchit. And I just actually realized that one of the things that we'll struggle with the deal I created is that there's no email or phone number tied to it. So I'm going to use the the other sample that we have because there's an email and a phone number. And that's important because Pitchit can't contact someone if there's no email or phone number to contact them with. So we're going to use the example A in the test. If you do add a deal, make sure you do add contact info. I think I skipped that when I was creating the deal. So action is going to be add lead to campaign. When you do choose a Pitchit account, it's pretty straightforward, but the first thing that you do when you choose Pitchit, if you have not already connected account here, is that you need to go into your Pitchit account, and then you need to click the name here, and you need to choose integrations and copy the API key, okay? I've already done that, but that step is pretty straightforward. You connect a new account, you paste it in, you click yes, and then you're done. So this is the account we're gonna sync it to today. I've already finished putting the API key in, and we're gonna move on to the next step. So the next step is it's gonna ask you which Pitchit campaign you wanna add the lead to. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. So you can create a campaign in real time, which is what we're gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna just write some sample copy. This is where you'd basically write your pitch. And then in the next section, the reason I like this is because in an iframe, we do make Zapier available. And so you could actually create the Zap inside of Pitchit without ever leaving it. Or you could go over to Zapier and create it here. And it's totally up to you. If you want like a bigger screen and a bigger environment, then Zapier has it. But if you like it being ingrained in inline, so you never have to leave the workflow, or I should say the campaign wizard of Pitchit, then go ahead and create it there and just finish it inside of Pitchit. And once you're done, you click next step. Then we're going to choose WhatsApp, email, and SMS as the channels. Now, there's another video on how you can actually create a WhatsApp sender on Meta, and I'm not going to get into that in this video, but long story short, you do need an SID, and the other video will show you how to do that. This is just going to be a test subject line for email and a test subject copy for email, and then some sample copy for SMS. I'm also going to keep the calendar booking links turned on because I like having a recipient have the ability to either reply to book a meeting with our AI or just click a link and book it themselves self-serve. So I'm going to launch this campaign by clicking Pitch It. You're going to see that it's now in sending status. Now this account does not have any senders connected to it, and so everything we launch is just going to have a warning tag because we don't actually have 10 DLC approved phone SMS or a Meta approved WhatsApp account, and so it's just going to hit warning status, but you can ignore that. This is just a dummy account. It's not a real live campaign. So get back to Zapier. Now that we've got the campaign name, we're going to fetch new results, refresh the field, and I'm going to move on to choosing the campaign name, and you should see test campaign 2 inside of the drop-down menu now. First name, just simply map it. So I'm just going to map the first name and the last name. And then under email address, I'm going to map the email address. Under the phone number, I'm going to map the phone number. The rest of the stuff is unnecessary for this particular use case. And once you're good to go, just click test, and you should see inside of Pitchit, it should show, instead of 0 recipients, it should now have a counter that's gone up to 1, and ours did. And so this is basically done. You can publish this Zap, and now every single time that a new contact gets added to your GoHighLevel, and you have an automation that you'll need to create to automatically attach a new deal, and anytime that new deal is created, as soon as it hits stage 1, it's going to automatically add the contact associated to that deal to a Pitchit campaign, which will then send email, SMS, and WhatsApp messages prompting them to start a conversation with our AI agent. And that AI agent is going to call them, message them, book meetings with them, and try to turn that into an inbound call for your team with really no hands needed or any manual labor. Once this campaign's done, it's set it and forget it.